Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into a beginner's guide for the brand new release of Phasmophobia, the Nightmare update, just in time for Halloween. So what we're going to cover today is everything you need to know in the update to get started, all the changes, all the little secrets and everything you can do in the game, and also how to play and what to look out for, because there are 4 new ghost types, a new map, and some major changes and overhauls to how the game works. So you'll want to be aware of all of those. But before we start, let's cover the lobby. I'm not going to cover all the little tidbits in here, but there's tons of secrets and little Easter eggs in the new lobby for Halloween. First off, you'll see it is very dark and spooky. If you grab one of these 4 black lights that are available for you, you'll see tons of little messages and all kinds of things all around the lobby. I'm not going to go through every single message, but I'm going to show you what you can use to freak your friends out when you go into lobby in here. There's a bunch of little messages on this side. You'll go across here. If you go over to the locker, it's going to say help me, and there's going to be a spawned thing inside the locker on the left with an arrow. Open it up, the body will fall out and crash down to the ground. So you can use that to spook your friends out. And also right above the board here, if you pan your camera up, there's a spooky little girl ghost with white eyes and blacked out textures that actually follows you. So if you move around, the head will pan over to your camera and look directly at you. So super freaky. You can use that to freak some people out. Bunch of messages over here, some scratches, some other things as well in the attic. And the other thing you can use to freak people out is the fact that if you look, the new footprints that are here, well, you follow them, you go across the lobby, they go all the way over to this door, and there's a jump scare here. So get ready. You ready? Ready? Hey! So she'll give you a little hey if you go up to that door. Pretty cool. I think it loads only once per lobby, but that's something pretty cool. So what we're going to do structure-wise, let's go through the map. Let's go through the functions of the map. I'm sure people are eager to get into the new content. And then we'll cover the new ghosts, and we'll go through some of the changes as well, so everyone knows what's going on. First thing you'll notice here is the updated map. Now, the plan is this is only available on the campsite map, the new map that we're on right now. I guess the plan is development-wise to do a top-down terrain render of every single map for this, which is pretty cool. It still has the layers on it, but it's a little bit more true to form. And you'll see that the generator icon is there as well. One thing to keep in mind for this new map, and I'll show you where all the locations are. I have found 5 different generator spawns for this map, which is the breaker for the campsite. And we'll go through all of those, but it can be in 5 different locations, so keep that in mind. Next, with this update, you now have random weather. This applies to all maps. There's maybe 5 or 6 different choices, and they have different effects on what happens to the environment. They're most impactful on the campsite map, since most of it is outside. Snow here will lower the temperature. There's rain and thunderstorms that make it very loud and hard to hear far off ghost events. You'll also run into dense fog that makes it hard to see ghost orbs, and various other effects that will change how you view the map and give you different experiences as well. This is the front gate for the campsite map. You're going to fly in here. You're going to open this up. It's got a good little sound to it. You'll notice right away that we'll be able to come over to these little tents here and open them up. These are, in fact, doors. They function just like Phasmophobia doors, but they have a special animation, which at first is a little weird, but you just grab it like a normal door and then move it, and it'll actually Velcro tear and bring itself down here. The lights inside the cabins, or inside the tents, are these little lanterns here. Some have burners, but the most often they'll be little lanterns. These are essentially light switches, as you will get fingerprints to show up right on the bottom base of the lantern here. Additionally, since these are technically structures, you will get fingerprints showing up here as well. They don't show up on the flap. So even though you can Velcro this back up, they don't show up on the flap. What'll happen is you'll see a fingerprint right here on the door frame on the inside. So if you come inside and you check this top left on the door frame for fingerprints, it will be right here. You can leave the flap open if you want. These little screens are windows, and you will see fingerprints that show up here as well. So you want to look at these 2 windows, and then right here on the door frame for fingerprints. Next, you'll notice the camp is pretty dark. On the professional and nightmare difficulties, you will have to go find the generator and turn it on, but if not, then you won't have to. Let me show you where the lights are here. You do see these fairy lights going across. You can light these up. In the first area, there's a switch on this pole here. turn that on, it'll turn these on, which it honestly looks very cozy. There is a double bathroom here. If you come around this side, you'll find one bathroom entrance. It has a light here on the inside, 2 stalls, and then there's showers. And the showers actually in the latest update will be able to be turned on. So you can turn these on and take a shower if you feel unclean for some reason. If you come around back, the generator does have a chance to spawn right here on this bathroom. So you can come right here. This is one of the 5 locations that it can spawn in. There's a little storage area in the back here that you can use to, you know, check for ghosts and have activity. I've had them walk through here. I don't know if they can spawn in here. They usually spawn in the bathrooms if they're going to. But that's something to keep in mind. Then you have a mirrored version of the bathroom over on this side as well. And again, you got a tent on the right. You can open up the flap. You can use the light there to turn it on to see through that. Let's start by going through the right side of the map as well. If you come through here, you'll have these tents that are wide open. These are kind of like functional tents. These actually have lights hanging from above. So you can go and turn those on directly, and you can have these little lanterns turned on here as well. In the middle, you'll have a switch that shows up. You hit that and it gets you the fairy lights right above in this whole area. This is actually, I believe, the northeast walkway or northeast pathway. And again, you can come in here. You'll see all these little things, but there's a lantern right above you. You could light that up. So as you can see, once you know where the lights are, it's not as dark as it seems. You keep coming along this way and you will see a light switch here that will turn on the, I just flipped the breaker. They'll turn on the fairy lights here in front of the cabin. But we're in luck because one of the 5 locations for the generator is right to the left of the cabin here. And it is here right now. So this is the breaker for this map. So what you want to do is come over, hit the generator. It functions just like the breaker. And you'll all be able to hear it too. So when that stops making that ambient noise, you'll know that the generator is off. You'll come out here. There's almost never any evidence out here other than objects. But there is a little Easter egg. If you look down into the water outside the dock, a little Jason mask will float up to the surface. And if you look underneath the cabin, you'll find a nice little body stowed under there, just, you know, just to keep the Halloween spirit alive. You'll notice right away that you can come up to the cabin, but it is locked on first entry. This is on every single spawn of the map. However, luckily, it is always right here on the welcome mat. You can pick up the key, and then into the cabin you go. This is one of the new bones you'll find. They're not the tiny little chicken bones anymore. It is actually a variation of various human bones like spine, skull, pelvis, you know, things like that, rib cage. So this is one of the bones you'll find. Take a picture of that, but that is just the regular bone that you can find. Inside the first level of the cabin, there's 2 floors. There are 2 light switches. This does the main area here, and there's a light switch for the little kitchen outlet over on this side. This is all there is down here on this first floor. If you go up to the second floor, there is a balcony, which honestly doesn't have too much use. There's some value around here, and you can hide back there if you'd like. There's a couple of good hiding spots if you're playing on basically intermediate and amateur. The professional and nightmare difficulties have blocked hiding spots in the newest update. And there's a bathroom in here. There's a light switch on the wall that you can open up, turn the light on, and you're good to go. And that's the cabin. So let's go check out the campsite, which is back this way. We're going to turn the light off, just make sure we don't flip the breaker again. And we'll head this way. We'll go back to these 2 tents that we saw earlier. And instead of at this fork turning to the right and going to the cabin, we will instead turn to the left and go towards the campsite. You'll see a lot of tents here that have variations on the tent flap with the light you can turn on there. And again, you'll find the fingerprints in those 3 spots. You can go through and you'll see different props here. All these are pretty cool. There's even these little burners you can turn on. One of the new ghosts is Onryo is afraid of fire. So it is nice to have some fire options laid out around the level to scare that one away if you know that it is an Onryo. And you'll find this camp going through here. There's not any light over on this side, unfortunately. You won't be able to get too much light here. You can bring your own if you'd like, but there's not too much there. If you come over to this camp, again, these are the ones that are hanging from the ceiling. Turn that on, get plenty of light there. And you do find some around the campfire here. And one thing to keep in mind as well is you can take a lighter to the campfire, the bonfire, and turn it on. There are reports of this lowering FPS for a lot of lower end and mid end machines. So just keep that in mind. But once you light this, this is another great way to get light in the area and honestly get pretty cozy, because you can come over here and you can grab the marshmallows and roast it by the fire because reasons. If you want to feel really festive, you can twang the guitar. You come over here, there's going to be more lights up above on this. And then there's going to be the final set of the campfire down there. And if you're looking for the light switch, it's here on this pole right there, which will give you those fairy lights. And then you've got cornhole going all the way down to the edge here. This right here, this spot is another spot for the generator to spawn right next to this final tent that's here in the corner. You come in. This is blocked off on that side, but you can hide in here for some ghost hunts if you like. And then you'll find a generator spot there. There's one on the other side of the tent over there. And then the last spot is right here, right behind the campfire. They'll find the generator spawning here at a chance versus all the others. Next, let's talk about the difficulty changes. This is another big update in this new patch. So if you come here, there's going to be there's the three we normally had, which was amateur, intermediate, and professional, that have minor changes to them. And there's now a new hardest difficulty called Nightmare. So let's start from the beginning. Some minor changes here. You're going to see sanity pills restore a lot of sanity. This is now a scaling difficulty element for all difficulties. This goes lower the higher up in difficulty you go. So I think at professional, the sanity pills used to give 40% sanity. I think they give 30 now. And I think nightmares are at 20 or maybe less. So there's some differences there. You'll find a difference in the places to hide as you go up. Amateur has all places. Intermediate has less places, like fewer places to hide. Professional has much fewer. And then on Nightmare, almost no hiding places. So the way this works is you'll find boxes or crates blocking a closet or a corner or a piece of furniture that you normally would be able to hide behind and break line of sight. It prevents you from doing so. On Nightmare, I would say that 80% to 90% of the hiding places that used to exist on the map are blocked off. So you really have to be careful and carry smudge sticks with you when you're running on Nightmare. Additionally, on Nightmare, ghosts will hide one type of evidence. I've done this about 15 times and completed it on this difficulty. And I can tell you that this gets kind of hairy. You have to get two types of evidence, and then the third type of evidence for that ghost will never show up. So if it's ghostwriting, it'll never write in a book, even though it has ghostwriting. If it's spirit box, it'll never speak to you through a spirit box. So you'll get two of the three. Once you have two evidence, you know it's not going to give you the third, and you have to guess based on behavior or circumstance. Another difficulty scaler for Nightmare is you have these two TVs brutally smashed, which means that on Nightmare, you will not be able to know what your sanity is, nor will you be able to see activity in the truck, which means you can't get EMF level 5 from the truck, and you can't see what's happening in the location when you're in the truck. These two together, the sanity specifically, make it very difficult to play on Nightmare, but it is a lot of fun if you're up for the challenge. And to show you what I mean by hiding spots being blocked, if you're on higher difficulties, they will look like this. So normally behind this this garbage can on Willow Street House is a great hiding spot. But since we're on Nightmare right now, these boxes are here, which means we don't really have that line of sight break. If you hide here, it is much easier for the ghost to path this way and find you. And you'll find these throughout the map and in different maps. It'll block closets, it'll block furniture, it'll block different areas that remove that spot as a possible hiding location. Another huge important note to cover, and you should tell this to your friends if you play in groups, it is a major change to the game. When you come into a property or location for the first time, the doors will be in random positions, which means that I walked in, this door was already open. You may find them kind of ajar like this. They're all in different positions, and that's just to make sure you don't know exactly where the ghost is when you walk in. So you'll see some of these open. Every starting position for the door is randomized, so you don't know that, like, if they're all closed and one's open, then obviously the ghost just touched this. That is no longer the case. So you'll have to go through and set in. What I've been doing is setting every door to fully open or fully closed. And then if I see it kind of like move like this, then I know that a ghost did that, because all of the ones that I touch, I leave there just as a kind of way to counteract that randomness. And another huge note, fingerprints only last 60 seconds on the highest difficulty. It may be for all of them actually, but fingerprints are time limited. So the way you have to deal with this now is if you see the ghost touch something, you have a minute to go catch it with the UV light or a glow stick to get the fingerprints for it. Otherwise they will fade. This is another way to make the game a little bit more immersive, since you can't just walk around the house and find all the spots that have fingerprints. You have to be there when the ghost event happens and it touches, knocks on the window, opens the door, changes the lights, things like that. We did get a door in here, but unfortunately it looks like it is not a fingerprint or ghost. Or maybe it is and we're on Nightmare and it's blocking that evidence. But Keep in mind that fingerprints are now time sensitive. You have to catch them when they're fresh. A small change to the Luigi board, the Waluigi board, or the Ouija board. If the ghost doesn't respond to you, you only lose a small amount of sanity now. If it does respond, you will lose the normal large amount. And this is just to make the Ouija board a little bit more accessible and less terrifying to use, because oftentimes using it once or twice, you'd go down to 0 sanity, even if the ghost refused to answer you. So it's a little bit safer to use, although you still run the risk of dropping sanity if the ghost does respond to you. Next, let's go over the 4 new ghost types that are in the game now. They're all pretty interesting and lots of fun. So let's go through each one by one. The new in this order here, number 17 is now the Onryo. This is the fire-fearing ghost that we talked about earlier. It's referred to as the wrathful spirit. And it fears fire. So if you have a candle, a campfire, a stovetop, anything, it will do pretty much anything it can to get away from it. And I've found that oftentimes it will cause it to roam away from your location or even its haunting location. If you bring fire into the room, it's actually, it gets pretty scared. Additionally, extinguishing a flame can cause it to attack. I've noticed this is similar to a demon or a mare, where you have to be under a certain sanity level in order for this to trigger. You can't walk into a room at 100% and then blow out a candle and then it attacks you. So keep that in mind. The evidence for this is Spirit Box, Ghost Orb, and Freezing Temperatures. The Twins is 2 ghosts in 1. You will actually see and hear and track 2 separate ghosts in the location. Sometimes they're close to each other. I had 1 or 2 that were a decent bit apart. But you'll see ghost events and activity in different locations and at different times. They can alternate their attacks, which means one can attack you and then the other can attack you, or vice versa. But the weakness is that they will often interact with the environment at the same time. So if you're playing in a party and you think it might be the Twins based on EMF level 5, Spirit Box, or Freezing Temperatures, you can have one of you sit on one ghost and one of you sit on the other, and then get on the radio. And if you get ghost events at the exact same time, you might be dealing with the Twins. Or if it feels like the ghost is just everywhere all the time, ghost events triggering all over the place, he's in multiple rooms, it could be that it's just 2 different ghosts, the Twins, that are messing with you. And this one's actually super fun and unique. I like facing the Twins quite a lot. The Raiju is a electrical ghost, an electrical demon. This one can be quite difficult to face on some maps. It becomes agitated when you give it too much power. So if you have a lot of lights on and you have a lot of devices that are electronic and a lot of flashlights on and everything, you can actually cause it to attack. It will go faster the more electronics are near it. And it's actually a little bit easier to track during a hunt, because if you leave electronic devices strewn about, it will always be disrupting them, and I believe at a greater distance. So you can actually hear, based on EMFs going off, or spirit boxes wigging out, if it's Raiju moving around the location. It's EMF level 5, Ghost Orb, and Dots Projector for this one. And the last one is pretty sneaky. It is the Obake. They're shapeshifters, and they can take on many forms. I have not yet seen the unique evidence they give when they shapeshift, but they sometimes take on humanoid shapes. But the biggest telltale for the Obake, and one thing you should keep in mind, is when interacting with the environment, an Obake will rarely leave a trace. What this means, in my experience, is that you will hear item and object interactions often, but when you go to that item, it won't have any evidence that it moved or has been touched. It'll stay exactly the way it is. It just plays a sound. You'll hear something fall over, look around, and no objects have moved. I had an Obake that had almost 100 interactions, but only knocked over a single cup. So keep that in mind if you think it might be an Obake with EMF level 5, fingerprints, or Ghost Orb. You'll hear object interactions, but have no evidence of it. And when it comes to ghost hunts, the duration of the hunt will be varied by the size of the map. So a small map like Willow Street will have shorter ghost hunts overall now in the new update. Medium-sized maps are a little bit longer, and then large maps have even longer ghost hunts. This just prevents you from just running out of places to run or running out of places to hide. So it's a nice little change there. And the overall radio has been nerfed. If you use it during a ghost hunt, it will actually attract the ghost. And the trick where you can toggle your radio to see if there's a ghost still hunting only works on smaller areas or when the ghost is near. If you toggle your radio or turn your radio on, it'll work fine if the ghost is too far away but still hunting. Additionally, ghost events Anytime the ghost is visible, it'll affect electronics. So if it's doing a thing where it charges you, just to scream in your ear and scare you, it will actually look like a ghost hunt. Your flashlight will be flickering, all the electronics will be going off, you'll hear a heartbeat, it'll get to you and stop and not kill you. So keep that in mind, that everything is a little bit harder to tell now with how much it blends in with an actual ghost hunt. And that does it for the new update. I hope this gets you right into the game and gets you started with all the new changes. This update is absolutely awesome, and I hope you are enjoying and having fun out there. Let me know what your favorite part of the changes are down below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.